Afternoon, DeGents. This is Money Mansmann, Distinguished DeGents podcast, back in studio. If you haven't checked out the AFC video, what are you doing? Do so now.
Big Bucks Beyta here. Fucking happy to be back.
Yeah, man.
This is awesome. And happy Memorial Day.
Happy Memorial Day. Thank you to everyone who served. Absolutely.
Producer John in studio.
Producer John, what is good? What is good?
What's good? Check out our AFC video. We're giving out free picks. We're not saying they're great, but we're saying they're free. But
as my old man used to say, if it's free, it's me. So hopefully it's for you too.
Yes, sir. With that said, we went over the AFC. Now we got to get into the NFC futures picks.
And this is where we're going to have some fun. AFC, if you didn't see it, Chalky McChalkerson here.
Parity is still alive and well in the NFL. We'll just leave it at that. In the NFC, though, on the other hand, we've had a lot of changes going on. So I think we're going to see a lot of different types of betting. We might throw some fists. We might not. I just had a random call, but I'm going to ignore it. With that said, Mansmann, we know the format. I'll go over it one more time. We're going to go over each division. We're going to go over all the odds, courtesy of FanDuel, because that is the sportsbook of Maryland Live Casino. Not that we're sponsored. One day we might be, but that's okay.
One day.
Maybe
if
will be.
Maybe if we get more subscribers.
By the way, we have a new YouTube channel. We will make sure to post that and give it to producer John. But if you're following us on YouTube, our first 100 subscribers, thank you all very much for subscribing. Thank you for checking out Mansmann's Baseball Shorts, my NHL picks. And like I said with the format, we're going to pick out a division winner. We're going to pick out our best over and our best under in each division. We're giving out a total of 20 picks to build your portfolio on. And you can do with that information what you will, but like we advised in the earlier videos, get on it now, get on it soon, get on it before it's too late.
Yeah.
All right, Money Mansmann, are we ready to jump into the NFC? Any overall thoughts before we start?
I'm excited for the NFC. This is the open conference, so let's go, baby.
All right, NFC North, Detroit Lions in the lead to win the division, plus 145. They're at 9.5 wins on the over-under. Minnesota Vikings, plus 310, over-under 8.5. Green Bay, plus 330, over-under 7.5. Chicago, also at 7.5, but they are plus 380 on the division win line. And Mansmann, you ended the last video with, I shouldn't pick Minnesota. Tell me why.
Well, yeah, I didn't want to hear your crap about, Jacksonville had a lot of lucky breaks, and then you were going to go and bet Minnesota, who, let's be honest, the Sharps, every Sharp on the planet said that they were a below-average team who won a lot of one-score games and got very lucky. But as for me, I like the Vikings for the division again. I love Detroit, but Detroit had a lot of wins late. They had a bad start to the year. I mean, I think people forget that because it was just what everyone remembers is them going to Lambeau Field and beating Green Bay. They don't remember, the Lions had a bad start to the year.
You don't remember that they barely beat the Bills, or they barely lost to the Bills, but that was a game they had no business being close
that was
at.
the game when the Bills played like donkey shit. Remember when they
they had that weird situation with the snowstorm. They had to stay there for the Cleveland game.
And still lost. Remember when they beat the Jets 4th and 1 with like 45 seconds left, and the Jets blew the coverage to lose the game? So they had their lucky breaks. I'm not saying Minnesota didn't. I just think, is Kirk Cousins that bad? Is Justin Jefferson? Did he get traded?
No, let's be real. Kirk Cousins is an average quarterback. He is not great. He will not go in the Hall of Fame.
I mean,
I'd put him on par, truth be told.
I'd put him on par.
And
I trust the Vikings more than... the Vikings were a, good team last year. I'm not saying they're going to win the NFC, but for the Lions to be a favorite in this division...
Why?
Asinine.
I co-signed. So I was going to take the Vikings, but really it was more of a fade of the Lions because it's weird. I don't think the number is correct. I think Minnesota should be a lot closer to win the division than 3-1. So, if I have to pick the Lions or the Vikings to win the division as the top two picks, I'll go with the Vikings pretty much 9 out of 10
And let me tell you, if you're out there, you better not do this, okay? If you do this and you happen to be a subscriber, you unsubscribe, you never watch our videos again. if you go after week 1, when the Lions lose to Kansas City week 1, which is going to happen, and you bet the Vikings to win the division when they're even money with the Lions, unsubscribe from the channel, never watch again. Because right now, if you're going to bet the Vikings, now's the time to bet 'em.
exactly.
Because Detroit is going to lose week 1, and this number is going to be closer to even after week 1. I can almost guarantee it. Who do the Vikings play week?
I'm going to double check that, but if you have anything else, keep going.
Unless they play like the Eagles or something week 1, then maybe I'll be wrong.
They play the Bucks at home.
If you people...
They're playing Baker Mayfield.
If you people, after the Vikings win week 1, and Detroit loses week 1, that might be an early parlay too.
Now, to be fair, do you think if Detroit covers, because we know they're going to be a dog against the Chiefs, but if they cover...
No, because it's overreaction week, and what's going to happen is the Chiefs are going to score 45 points, because that's what the Chiefs do. And everyone's going to say, oh my God, Detroit, they're really no good. And oh, Minnesota is going to score probably, they're going to win 27-3 against Tampa. And these idiots who could have had Minnesota at plus 250 are going to bet them, either plus 120 or even money. If you do that, unsubscribe from the channel.
So here's my concern, and because again, I didn't want to come here and say, okay, Minnesota is not a bullshit 500 team. They are. Last year was kind of an anomaly where they were actually kind of successful.
Oh, they won a lot of one-score games.
But Kirk Cousins, let's not forget the 2 years prior that he was there was either 500 or below 500. He was not a great quarterback. So that's not where I'm going to go with. What I'm also going to mention, too, the Vikings have a really tough first 6. So they host the Bucks, but it's Baker Mayfield.
Okay, tomato can.
Eagles in Philly, primetime game. How do we know? How's primetime Kirk Cousins last week, Chad?
How is he primetime Kirk Cousins? Remember, this reminds me of the game last year when the Vikings were primetime against the Eagles, and that was your best bet.
Yeah,
Vikings
we're not going to talk
Philly.
about that.
How stupid does that look a year later?
I know. Yeah, God, I look like a dumb.
That one aged like sour wine.
Yeah, so primetime Kirk Cousins week 2 against Philly yet again. Here we go. They have to host the Chargers the week after at home. They then go to Carolina, but then they get the Chiefs in week 5. So realistically, they could start out 2-3, but you look at the rest of the schedule, and the hardest opponent they have is the 49ers. Maybe the Bengals, if you really want to get cute, because they have to go into Cincy, so maybe that's a loss. But they have 2 games against the Lions within the last 3 weeks of the division. They have the Green Bay Packers twice. They have the Broncos. They have the Raiders and the Bears. And the Falcons.
God, I would be tempted to almost wait for
they could have a hard start, but and that's the thing. Maybe you do wait on the Vikings. I'm not saying you do it, but bet it now. And then wait 4 weeks, see how bad they are.
Or at least if you're going to do it. If you want to wait 4 weeks and bet them after they have that tough stretch. But if week 1, you're betting the Vikings even money, you're hurting us. You will be killing us.
Yeah, no, do either bet it now or wait till week 5.
God, you'd almost be tempted to do a hedge situation where you literally go, what you could do, you bet the Vikings now plus 250. You wait for the Lions to lose week 1 and the Vikings to win, and then you bet the Lions probably plus 175 to 200.
Actually, that wouldn't.
And then it doesn't. I mean, let's be honest. Chicago, I'm going to get to them. Green Bay.
Yeah, Green Bay's doomed.
Is there anyone else winning this division besides the
Lions?
No,
this is between the Lions and the Vikings. And the argument for the Lions is that besides the Chiefs game, they have an easier schedule going throughout. I mean, again, the next 4 after the Chiefs, they host the Seahawks, they host the Falcons, they go to Green Bay, but then they host the Panthers. So realistically,
Seahawks are their toughest game.
I think if you're gonna, I mean, an argument could be made if you're gonna bet either team, do it beforehand. Don't do it beforehand. Maybe wait after week 4, and if the Vikings do go on a skid, but then.
Well, I think the Lions, if you really like the Lions, you have to bet them now. Well, maybe you wait after week 1. You bet the Lions after week 1 when they lose, because then, in all likelihood, if you really think the Lions are a winning team, eventually they're going to... I mean, isn't the game in Kansas City, too?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. The Lions are not winning that game in Kansas City.
Yeah, if you're going to... So,
no chance.
And that we say this out of fairness, because we do like to be equal opportunists. If you want to bet the Lions, wait till after week 1. But if you want to bet Minnesota like we do, we're doing it now.
Yeah, you have to do it now if you like Minnesota.
At 3-1?
Either that or you got to hope that they hit that tough stretch. But even then, they might end up being around this.
If they split that tough stretch, you're looking pretty good.
Unless you get lucky and maybe like Chicago gets off to a hot start and people fall in love with Justin Fields, but I'm going to get to that.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really see too many pickups on this side. Detroit did get running back David Montgomery from Chicago. Minnesota drafted wide receiver Jordan Addison to complement Justin Jefferson. No more Adam Thielen, though, over there. Green Bay, they are starting Jordan Love.
I would have loved Addison. 2 receivers that the Bills could have.
And Chicago was the lucky winners to get Tremaine Edmonds. So do with that what you will.
Enjoy the bad angles and blown coverage.
All right, over-under pick, under 7.5 for Chicago Bears for me. Again, why are we betting on a team that got 3 wins to get 8 out of nowhere? First of all, is Justin Fields going to have a full season? Like, did we forget that this guy got injured?
Do we care? I
I don't care. The
Bears
Bears suck. They literally got rid of their defense, but they picked up Tremaine Edmonds.
Well, they got Tremaine Edmonds. By the way, Bears fans enjoy those bad angles and blown coverages.
God, under 7.5 just seems. Maybe it's a Barney Bester, but like it just seems.
No,
too
I have
easy.
the Barney under. Packers under 7.5.
Okay, that is more Barney.
I don't just. I mean, I've seen Jordan Love play.
Your play is better because it's at plus 100, so I'm
just-
going to co-sign with you. That's the better.
I
one.
like both, really. Jordan Love, I've seen him play. He's not good. I mean, he's just not.
I'm changing my under pick. I'm co-signing with you because
I like both.
it's not that. I mean, maybe you play both. Maybe I parlay both, but under 7.5 for Chicago does seem too easy. But under 7.5 for the Green Bay Packers.
I don't like Justin Fields or Jordan Love. Justin Fields to me is discount Lamar Jackson. He's not good. No offense, he put up good numbers on a bad team.
No. He did not put up good numbers. He did not put up good numbers. He put up good fantasy points.
Oh, good rushing numbers.
Because he had rushing yards. He didn't pass for shit. Lamar Jackson has more passing yards than Justin Fields.
Oh, that's bad.
Trent Dilfer probably had more passing yards than
No, I'm not a Justin Fields fan. I don't like those guys who put up numbers on those bad teams and never win. Just a whole different.
Well, why are the Bears an 8-win team now when they literally were the
Because
worst?
people slobbed on his knob. Everyone like, oh, Justin Fields, he got me a fantasy football player.
Cole Kmet got me a couple touchdowns once.
But that's the thing. A lot of fantasy football players are doing gambling now, and they're not fucking good at it. Because they're like, oh, Justin Fields, he's so great. He runs for 1,000 yards. So he's going to run, and you're going to lose. That's what the Bears did. They lost. They couldn't win a fucking road game.
Well, they won, 2 games, and then was like...
I mean, we knew. Remember, we faded the hell out of him and made bank. Like, that's what we did.
That was the easiest money I think we made.
And the Packers, Jordan Love, I've seen him play. He's not good.
No, under 7.5 for the Bears. That was my play, but under 7.5 at plus 100 too. I mean, I think if we're gonna be a gambling show, you may as well give out profitable picks, and I think under 7.5 for Green Bay is a lot better. So I'm co-signing with you. I'm changing my underplay. We're gonna go with Green Bay. What's your overplay?
Vikings 8.5.
Makes sense.
Logical and just really low. I just sometimes it scares me, the sharp sort of. I tend to fade the teams that get a lot of turnovers on defense more than the teams necessarily that win all those one-score games. I like to fade the teams that get a lot of turnovers on defense because I think sometimes they're luck-related. But, I mean, the Vikings, that's kind of the team I expect them to be. With a guy like Kirk Cousins, you're going to win a lot of close games. And in that division, I think Green Bay is bad. I think the Packers are bad. Or
the Bears.
The Bears are bad.
The Bears.
The Bears, bad. So you got like 4 games where I think you could go 4-0, and then...
Yeah, I guess the question is, if both teams split those series with Detroit and Minnesota, which, by the way, that's at the end of the season. They're not even going to see each other till Christmas. So the question is, which team comes out ahead coming towards Christmas? But even then, I think if they're both neck and neck come Christmas, and then you have the last 3 games for the division, I would rather take Minnesota. Detroit looked... I mean, let's call it what it is. It's the same thing as Jacksonville. It's the same thing. They looked great towards the end of the season. They had a lucky win. And all of a sudden, they're the hot team because, oh my God, Jared Goff is back. You forget that Jared Goff, albeit went to a Super Bowl, managed 3 whole points, got fucked up the season after, then proceeded to get traded for Matthew Stafford.
This is a team that lost by 14 points to the Carolina Panthers and Sam Darnold to lose out on a shot at the playoffs. Just remember that when you think of the Lions.
And Minnesota, say what you will, like I know their playoff run was like less than ideal, but at least it was mostly competitive until the end.
Well, they lost to the Giants. We're going to get to
that. In a very bad, I mean, that was a shit game. We fucking saw that coming too, but it was, it's one of those things where it's like you want to fade Minnesota, but I just think if you want to, when you fade a team so much, you forget to pick when they win. And
I just think the Vikings are like, they're just a stable play. They are what they are, and this number is so bad. And
it's not a good number.
I love the Lions last year. I really like Dan Campbell. Personally, I'm rooting for the Lions. I like them. They're a cool story. I like their coach. I like what they're building. But Jared Goff, I mean, not a fan.
No spoiler alerts here for the Harbor Discussions channel, but hopefully some positive news coming out later. But anyways, yeah, that's our overplay 8.5 Minnesota. So I'm co-signing with you. I think that might be the distinguished DeGents moment for the NFC North.
NFC North.
We're both on the same page there. All right, moving to the East, and things are gonna get really fucking ugly real quick. Philadelphia Eagles to win the division, to go back-to-back, plus 100. Over-under is 10.5 wins. Dallas is plus 175. Their over-under is 9.5. Giants plus 600. 7.5 is the number. And Washington Commanders, no more Dan Snyder. Breaking news, he still hasn't sold the team because he's a piece of shit. Plus 1,000.
It's getting there.
6.5 wins. Interesting fan theory going out. They think that the $7 billion buyer is a fluke, and Dan Snyder is just trying to get more money out of Magic Johnson's group.
What a scumbag.
What a piece of shit. Fuck Dan Snyder. Dan, if you're listening to this or if this gets to you, fuck you. Get the fuck out of the NFL. You fucking loser.
This is apropos. Think of Memorial Day, all of our great veterans who made the ultimate sacrifice for this country, yet Dan Snyder continues to steal air from us. Like,
you're right. God.
I'm not, Dan Snyder.
Well, no, Dan Snyder's the kind of guy that would take Memorial Day and make it about himself.
Let me.
He did. I mean, he literally did it with the fucking Sean Taylor Memorial, which really was just a glorified Dick's Sporting Goods fucking statue with the wrong jersey. How do you fucking get a wrong jersey?
My man's the one slur. How bad can I?
You named a street for your stadium for the row of porta pots. The disrespect on this motherfucker.
Oh, by the way, Dan Snyder, I'm going to start selling Washington Commanders gear because you don't have the copyright or the trademark.
Which means they might change the name again. Isn't that great?
You know what? Dan Snyder will probably shut down this YouTube channel.
Fuck it.
We'll make it our mission. We will literally start like 7 YouTube channels and just nonstop. So Dan Snyder, if you want to try and shut us down, you could give it a shot. We will not be deterred. We will continue.
We're going to keep doing this.
Channels.
Freedom of speech, bitch.
We will go on truth.org with DT. And
yes, we will.
Twitter and whatever.
So with that said, DeGents, we understand we're from the DMV. We apologize if you're fans of the Commanders.
No,
but we're not.
We don't hate the Commanders.
We don't. We do not hate the Commanders. We just hate Dan Snyder.
And let's be honest. If you're a real Commanders fan, you're right there with us. Come on.
Yeah, you're like, oh my God, can I please get in here? At least I hope that's your thought. If anybody likes Dan Snyder, you probably like January 6th. You probably like,
No, I don't know. I don't even think any of those. It's like that's what can bring this country together. You hate Dan Snyder? Oh yeah, he sucks. We're united.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so with that said, so Washington's immediately out because fuck putting money on him.
Sam Howell? Yeah, okay.
Well, I'm hopeful for Sam Howell, and truth be told, okay, come on. You had Carson Wentz and Taylor Heineke.
Yeah, but in this division?
I'm not saying they're gonna win.
No, that's what I'm saying.
I'm hopeful for Sam Howell. I hope he actually can be their next franchise quarterback. I think he has a lot of good potential. I know there are other Commanders fans out there that I've been talking to on the side. They're actually really hopeful for Sam Howell. And not like they actually think he could be something. So we're gonna see. But I think the last time they had something was Kirk Cousins.
Commanders fans at one point, as a Bills fan, we were hopeful J.P. Lossman could be a franchise quarterback. I'm just saying, I've been there.
Hey, we had Kyle Orton once, okay? That's all I'm gonna say. We had Kyle Orton.
He beat the Bills in a game.
Brian Greasy, Tim Tebow. We had Tebow Mania. So
but yeah, Sam Howell. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not betting my money on Sam Howell. So we can bet it on Daniel Jones at plus 600 with 7.5 wins. Was last year a fluke? Does Daniel Jones deserve, what was it, 160 million he got?
Had a really easy schedule last year.
He kind of has a schedule this year too, I think. It's
yeah, but they finished third in the NFC East with an easy schedule.
Yeah, it's concerning. They had 2 primetime games in the first 3 weeks.
So the Giants.
So those are L's.
Year 1 and 2.
So, I lied. In the first 5 weeks, they have 3 primetime games. If you want to go to 7, they have 4 primetime games. So they're gonna fucking lose a lot. So Giants are out.
I mean, you might.
Now, why are we saying this? Daniel Jones primetime record.
You might be tempted to just do your little own parlay, just re-roll each win every time the Giants lose in prime.
Yeah. Oh God.
So yeah, where are you going in the division?
Well, the thing with the NFC East is they've never had repetitive division winners since 2003, I want to say. It was 2003, 2004, maybe 2002 with the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, I figured this is a stat you were going to go to.
Again, I brought this up in the AFC video, and I'm going to bring it up again. What was the impact that Kellen Moore had for the Cowboys? Because if it was a positive impact and then the Cowboys lost it, I think the only logical chance, and you need to take it now, is that you need to bet the Eagles. Because Dak Prescott looked like dog shit last year. He did not look like the 100, or I forget. Again, I can't remember how much fucking money these guys make. There's so many fucking numbers. But Dak Prescott did not play like a quarterback who should have been paid what he was paid. He had the most, he was tied for the most interceptions on the year. Oh, look, he turned it over again. I mean,
yeah, while we were talking, there was another.
And you look at the Eagles, and I guess they lost Miles Sanders, but that's it. Like, they pretty much retained most of the team.
They're so. Yeah, Eagles is my play too, and I really didn't want to do it, but they're because
is the Super Bowl hangover real? On top of that, they probably have one of the tougher schedules of the league.
But they're so juiced. I mean, their draft, they got Jalen Carter.
I mean,
they're so juiced. Their defense is good. Their offense, they're just. You could make the argument that they're the most complete team in football. I mean, they're just juiced. They're stacked. A.J. Brown, Jalen Carter, Fletcher Cox. The defense is
Jason
good.
Kelsey returned for another year.
And they just are good. They're
God, it's crazy because I'm basically breaking one of my own personal rules, which is like when you see history and you see it go away, follow I'm not saying you always 99.999% of the time follow the trends, but 95% of the time I personally do. And I still break 60%. But you know what? I think if there ever was a time for this trend to end, Dallas lost their OC, which, by the way, that was the same guy who called a fucking Ezekiel Elliott in the center on a Hail Mary for a playoff game.
Jesus, yeah.
And that's what makes me wonder, what is the new OC going to make Dallas do? Because if that guy makes them better and makes them back to a real perennial contender, I am scared that it will be Dallas. And I'm scared of Dallas making a legitimate run.
I think the Eagles are the best team in the division.
They might be the best. I think they might be the best team in the NFC. I mean, truth be told. And I'm not just saying that from last year. I'm looking at all these other teams, and it's like, okay, we're saying Minnesota will win the division between Detroit, but it's a laughingstock compared to the Eagles and the Cowboys.
It's so sad because the Eagles remind me of the Bills like a year or two ago when people went, and obviously it didn't pan out for the Bills, so take it accordingly. you look at the Eagles, and I mean, I think a lot of people might say that the Eagles probably look like the best team in football. Just in terms of, I mean, the Chiefs might be favored because they're the defending, but in terms of like best team, if Jalen Hurts can play like he did in, the playoffs.
Well, what about the Super Bowl? I mean, can you imagine giving it your all in the Super Bowl like Jalen Hurts did? And you're going to be remembered for that bad Hail Mary throw, but like, let's be real. Their defense.
Guy
had 4 fucking touchdowns. I mean, what more can you ask?
Literally spit the bit.
Yeah, and maybe that's the concern if you're going to Philly and you say Dallas has a better OC now, so they're going to get their shit together. No more Ezekiel Elliott bullshit because he's a free agent now.
That'll help, but
Troy, not Troy. What's the other fucking running back? God damn it.
Tony Pollard.
I was going to say Troy, but Tony Pollard. Now that he's the clear number 1, do you think that Dallas actually gets going and doesn't try to fit people in?
So good segue. Cowboys over 9.5 is my overplay.
I'm going to co-sign with you on this, but I just want to tell you that originally it was the Giants, but I actually just relooked at their schedule and just switched it to the under. But go ahead.
Because I could see Dallas still being respectable and good. I mean, this looks to me, because I think the NFC is weak. This looks like another year where the Eagles could go and be 13-4, and Dallas might be 11-6.
Well, is Dallas a 10-win team? Start with that.
I think they have the talent to do that.
I agree with you.
That's the key.
And then,
so while I don't like them for the division, I do like them to be a good team because Dallas seems to be...
It's a good way to hedge between two.
And Dallas, they just seem to be like one of those teams to me where it's...
Oh, that's actually a pretty juicy schedule to start.
They shouldn't, be good. And they always seem to just, do enough to be, pretty good. Like Dak Prescott.
Their numbers reflect a lot better than what their actual play is. That's my opinion.
They have so many games where they just go, but then they play a bad team or a team that's struggling. And what's their schedule look like?
So they open up at New York against the Giants, primetime Sunday night.
So 1-0. Okay, primetime. Dallas.
Then they host the Jets for Aaron Rodgers.
2-0.
At Arizona.
3-0.
They host New England.
4-0.
They have to go to San Francisco.
I'll get to San Francisco in a minute, but
I'm gonna say 4-1. I'm gonna get if they go 4-0, that's where they
maybe
lose.
they'll lose that game to who they play before San Francisco?
The Jets. Or no, the Patriots.
They might lose that one. Bill Belichick special.
I could either the Patriots is a trap game or the Patriots will be the win, the big win.
4-1. I could see 4-1.
4-1 in the first 5, and then Chargers, Rams, Eagles, Giants again. So 2-2 there. So that's 6 wins. Panthers, Commanders, Seahawks, Eagles. So that's another 3. So that's 8. So 2 more wins between the Bills, Dolphins, Lions, Commanders. Yeah, I see it. I see 10 wins.
Yeah. They could very easily 10, and potentially even better.
Yeah, I lean more on the over 10 with the Cowboys as well because let's just be real, they are a 10-win team. How they get those 10 wins doesn't matter. The odds seem to clearly reflect it as well. Minus 150 from FanDuel just to get the over 10.5 wins there, but that's the scary thing is what is this offense going to be? No more Ezekiel Elliott, no more Kellen Moore. Is it going to be better or worse? Because the problem is if it's worse, then Dallas's defense has to step up. And we saw what they did last year in pivotal moments. They fucking shit the bed.
Yeah, like Dallas is wont to do.
So that's and my concern, too, and this is originally I picked the Dallas Cowboys to take the division. Again, kind of prior off history, but also, let's be real, if it's going to be between these two teams, if they have to switch off, it's going to be switched off to Dallas. It's not going to be, I don't think it's going to be the Commanders by any stretch. Giants would be like a dark horse situation, but they would have to have a lot go right early, and I just don't think that's going to happen with the tough opponents they have early in the season.
Segueing to my underplay, Giants under 7.5. Yeah,
Yep, and that's my underplay as well.
that's my big fade team for the year. The Giants were not a good football team last year.
Bold
They
play,
were
Cotton.
not a
Plus
good-
100.
They were not a good football team.
You're getting plus 100 on FanDuel for that, by the way.
They weren't that good last year. I mean, they had a weak schedule, and they won a lot of. I mean, they had that game against the Ravens that stands out, where Lamar Jackson fumbled to threw an interception in his own 20 to lose the game. They just weren't good. They weren't a good team last year. They just had a really easy schedule, and they almost blew some of
They
them.
had a good start. I mean, let's be real. They had a decent start to the season, and then it tanked.
But yeah, they have a tough opening schedule too, don't they?
They do. I brought it up like not too long ago. And I mean, again, so I'm looking at sharpfootballanalysis.com. New York Giants, they've gone down 3 slots as far as strength of schedule. So they actually have a harder schedule this time around too, which kind of plays into your under, which is also why I like it.
In the primetime games, we know Daniel Jones struggles.
4 primetime games in the first 7.
I'm just not sold on Daniel Jones. Like
I'm not either.
He just didn't. I mean,
Why would you be sold on a Duke quarterback?
they're lucky they still get a third place schedule, which is kind of lucky. But
So, I mean, and this is where I'm going to get into another play, which I did last year, which, by the way, that cashed at a 9-1 division order.
oh yeah,
When you look at these divisions, if you can pick the bottom 2 and the top 2, you really just do the math. There's kind of 6 ways you could play it. You could play all 6 if you just really want to get cute, but personally, I think the Eagles will win. I think Dallas will be 2. And then you look at the Giants and Commanders and say, okay, who's the better between the 2? Pick your order. That's how you play division orders.
I wonder if you could even play like Eagles Cowboys and then like
Cowboys, Eagles.
yeah, or the other way, mix it up between the Giants
Yeah,
and the.
Those lines are not out yet. We will let you know if those do come out, but
I might play some of those this year because I would have gotten the AFC or the NFC. There was one of them where I even told you, I was like, oh, that's a really good bet. You should make it. And you cashed, and I would have won.
But again, and also it provides you future hedge opportunities too.
Yeah. Which is always good.
Which by the way, like a prime example, if you have a division order and it comes down to like a week 16 game where it's the Eagles and Cowboys playing each other, and if the Cowboys win, they get the division, and there goes your futures bet. We'll just play the other side, bet you're winning, bet whatever you would win on that side, and you profit either way. But, or at least break even. But yeah, the NFC East, that was the hardest one for me to get through, and I literally switched mid-episode on one of my picks, because I originally liked the Giants to go over 8.5, because originally my thought was that it wasn't a fluke. You know, Brian Daboll was a decent head coach, and he proved that. They re-signed Daniel Jones, so I think they're committed to building around him. But then I realized they're committed to rebuilding around a guy who tripped his own feet trying to scramble. And
Saquon Barkley had a good year. Is that going to last? Is he going to have as good of a year?
I don't think so.
I don't know.
All right, now let's really get into the fighting. NFC West. Division odds. -175 for the San Francisco 49ers. +260 for the Seattle Seahawks. LA Rams +650. Arizona Cardinals 2,400.
You know how sad that makes me? I can't fade Midget Boy this year.
Midget Boy and the Cardinals are 4.5 over/under wins. Rams are 6.5. Seattle's 8.5. Niners are 11.5. I'm gonna hold off on your anger here.
Okay.
Producer John, can you grab us 2 beers on your way back? Sure. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. So, the only pickups I really noticed as far as these teams went, and by the way, I spent at least 4 hours, on each team. Not a lot of big pickups on either team, but I'll go through what I have. Arizona is about to lose DeAndre Hopkins.
He's gone. He gone.
LA Rams, or sorry, you're right, they did lose him.
He gone.
The Rams drafted Stetson Bennett, but they had, I think, 13 draft picks on day 2 and 3. So I think they've got a lot of young talent going on back there. The Seattle Seahawks, they got Bobby Wagner back. They picked up Draymond Jones from the Broncos, and they picked up Devin Bush, linebacker from the Pittsburgh Steelers. So they've actually rebuilt that defense.
They also have a good draft too. That corner.
And they had a
what
good.
They get Witherspoon, I think his
I
name is.
think so.
He's gonna be a good corner.
Yeah, I'm gonna be on the lookout for the Seahawks personally, but not to give any spoilers, but concerns are there. Yeah, San Francisco. My hands are up. I don't. I know they lost people. I know they lost people, but I don't think they got anybody. So, I really, really, really went back and forth on this, and for the sake of not appearing like I have an extra chromosome, which is not a bad thing, guys, I'm just saying that I didn't want to look really stupid. I went with San Francisco to win the division, but it is my least confident divisional winner pick. The reason being is that, thank you, Producer John.
Yeah.
The reason being is that it's clearly not going to be Arizona. The status of the Rams is so much up in the air. As much as there's a lot to like about them, the confidence level is not at, for me, I'm not even 60% confident the Rams could sneak away with this. The Seahawks could, but I saw too many issues last year for me to even think that they're going to be on the Niners level. My problem with the Niners, I don't know who their quarterback is.
Yeah.
If they go with Trey Lance, any bets on futures right now are dead. This guy sucks. He's not that good. He barely beat the Bears. Like, literally, he slid into the fucking right end zone after a muddy win, and then literally broke his ankle trying to tip a stripper.
The problem is, do we even know what Trey Lance is? He hasn't been on the field.
I've seen him in 6 games. He's not that good. Jimmy Garoppolo
He
was
almost
better
lost to the 1-win Texans.
Jimmy Garoppolo was better than this guy.
Yeah,
I mean, come on. Like,
he was.
we're going to bet on a San Francisco organization who drafted Trey Lance 3rd overall 2 years ago. 3 years ago, maybe. And all of a sudden, like, I have to just take the bait and assume they're just going to win the division again. Like, my problem is, are all these teams really that bad? We're just going to favor San Francisco that easily.
This is
I don't know. And again, now this was the hard. I know I said the East was the hardest one. This one was almost as hard, if not harder. But for some reason I like getting into the NFL or the NFC West, but.
Yeah, it's always been your favorite. I hate the NFC West. I like the Seahawks, though, to win the division.
I can't fault you, but I need to hear why.
The quarterback is so... I get what Purdy did last year, but number one, there's going to be tape on Purdy now. That's number one. Number two, I mean, this guy's coming off of fucking surgery. Like, do we know what this guy's going to be?
Well, he was Mr. Irrelevant. Was he Mr. Irrelevant for a reason?
I mean, he was solid last year, but there's going to be more tape. And now he's coming back from an injury that you don't know what he, like... No, the other guy, Trey Lance, I mean...
Well, we saw what Brock Purdy... So what I said last year was Kyle Shanahan's offense could literally fit any white guy. And it sounds fucked up. I know it's going to sound bad, but like any white guy could come in at quarterback for Kyle Shanahan and fill it in. But then for some reason, Trey Lance shows up and it's not like...
It's just so hard because think about for the San Francisco bet to make any sense at all. Number one, Brock Purdy has to be as good as he was last year.
Or no. Start with this. Trey Lance has to be as good as Brock Purdy.
Either or. Percentage chance, maybe a third, considering they're both coming off of serious injuries. Okay, let's even say you get through that. Basically, you get either through Trey Lance or Brock Purdy. You get what Brock Purdy was last year. Solid game manager quarterback that can do enough to win. Okay, that's number one. Number two, San Francisco basically has like a top defense in the league. Are we sure they're going to be that again this year?
They didn't look good against the Eagles, I'll say that.
I mean, maybe that's the most.
So let me time you out here. Deebo Samuel talked so much shit after that loss and was just like, oh, if we had a quarterback, we would have won that game. What if you had a cornerback?
Weren't they losing in the first half?
They lost that whole game.
I mean,
don't get me wrong. I understand. Josh Johnson had to come in.
and then he got
Journeyman,
Then he
had to
got-
come in the first quarter, and you knew the game was over.
Yeah.
That is true. And that's not either the Niners' fault or Josh Johnson's fault. I mean, he was put in a damn near impossible situation against the number one team, arguably, in the NFL. But at the same time, zero blame on this guy for his defense. His defense could have kept it in. They could have kept it close.
But
Like, it just felt like they gave up.
I give him a little blame because there was no offense on the other side. So I'll give him a little. I just, not even the defense. You now also need Christian McCaffrey to be what he was at the end of last year. Like, I don't know if all three of those things are just sustainable. And you need all three for the Niners to be this big of a favorite.
Is it sad that I think Christian McCaffrey being sustainable is actually the most realistic?
I think the defense, because the defense has been good with them for a lot of years. Christian McCaffrey, again, a guy, he's good when he's on. He's an injury away from not being on. And especially if the quarterback play goes down. I mean,
But the Niners have had success at running back even before Christian McCaffrey. Trust me, I know. I had Elijah Mitchell on my fucking fantasy team for 2 years on our dynasty league. But and I'm not saying that the Niners are, but what I'm saying is they've had success at running back. I'm not saying they need Christian McCaffrey. Now Christian McCaffrey is a difference maker compared to what they had.
They need that level.
Well, no, the argument I think you need to make is you need that. You also need the defense to be good. But on top of that, you also need Trey Lance to either come through or you need Brock Purdy to not be a bust.
Because the only reason Brock Purdy worked was their running game was so good. C-Mac was so good. He carried.
Well, there's no was. He is good.
But he's not always that. Like in Carolina, before he got to San Francisco, he wasn't that. He was good. But
was.
he wasn't. In San Francisco, he was like carrying the team to wins. And that's what
I
you're gonna
disagree with
need.
that. Christian McCaffrey did not carry the Niners. Christian McCaffrey was a part of the offense who helped them produce. Whereas with Carolina, he was the offense. I think it's the other way around. But that's just my opinion. But I think you need that. You need the defense to still be good. You need Brock Purdy or Trey Lance to come through.
For the bet to make sense. And if any one of those three...
And
it's
at
a bet that
at
makes
minus 175, is that really a bet you really
Well, I
want?
think it makes no sense. And I think you
That's
get
fair.
good value with Seattle because
So
I just like what they did in the draft. Like, I think they're getting better. Like, this is a team to me that looks like it's getting better.
okay, I'm gonna piss you off here. Do you know? To me, a better bet that makes sense is the LA Rams over the Seahawks.
See, I will say, there was a part of me that really thought the Rams were an interesting pick. And the Sharps, I got sharped out of it. A lot of Sharp podcasts I liked. The number got bet down. The number was at like 7.5 to 8. And the Sharps bet it down. Because I don't know what they did. They looked at the roster and were like, this team's rebuilding. The win total is way too high. Now, they could be wrong. That's a pick I will admit I got scared away because a few sort of Sharp podcasts I listened to were all like, this number's way too high, and they literally bet the number down. And I hate going up against like smart Vegas money like that.
Okay. So my thinking is this. The Rams last year were very injury riddled. They're getting Cooper Kupp back. They're getting Aaron Donald back. They're getting their main quarterback, Matthew Stafford, back. They don't have Allen Robinson's bitch ass no more, who didn't fucking do a damn thing for this team. And now that we know Cam Akers is the starter, he's staying in LA. I just think that at this point, if you're going to pick an underdog team in this division, you're going to go with Geno Smith. You know, Mr. Comeback Player of the Year. That's great. He got the big contract. And by the way, congratulations, Geno Smith. Well deserved.
Make that money.
Make your damn money.
But
is Geno Smith really the fucking future for the Seattle Seahawks?
well, no,
I don't think he is.
I don't think the contract even. I mean, if you look at the deal, it's basically like a 1-year deal because the guaranteed money is this year.
And again, happy for him, congratulations. But for me to think that Seattle is going to be successful 2 years in a row with a Geno Smith who barely got them a wild card spot for him to just blow that away. I don't get why the Rams are a plus 650 to win the division. I would think at least like 300, 200 maybe, like would make more sense considering they're getting everybody back. We've seen this before. What was it, the COVID year with Jared Goff? What happened the next year? They won the fucking Super Bowl.
Well, maybe you want to flick a chip on it.
I'm flicking a unit on the Rams to fucking like literally just to see. I'm flicking or not a unit. I'm gonna flick half a unit on the Rams to win the division at plus 650. Like truthfully, I am. And I don't even know if I'm gonna play the Niners because you might be talking me out of them, but I swear to God, the fucking Niners, like just so much has to go right, and I just
be talking me out of Seattle. I like Seattle, but I'm wondering if I just like the draft. Because I think they had a really good draft, and I like the direction the team's heading.
But I think I like the Rams' direction more. Because, again, 2 years ago, this team was like, fuck them picks. This year, they picked up 13 people on day 2 and 3, which tells me, it tells me that the injury problems were a real thing. But it also tells me they're getting ready for the future. They're trying to stay consistent. And they got, you don't pick 13 guys out of the draft if you don't like them. Like, if there's nobody you really like, what do? You trade the pick away. The Rams were like, fuck it. Give me them picks. Yeah. I'll take it. That tells me that I think there's going to be a lot of hidden talent with what the Rams took this year. I swear to God. And with that said, just kind of I like the over 6.5.
I like that bet too before I got shaken off it.
And I like that it went down. If it went down from 8.5, over 8.5 would have been a little absurd. But I think 6.5 is way too low for a Rams team that's not only getting everybody back. Matt Stafford having that major surgery, I think he had a bad start coming into last year. Coming off the Super Bowl, he had to fucking start against the Buffalo Bills with a fucking injured shoulder, overhyped on Allen Robinson.
Yeah, their O-line was bad. They were bad.
It was just a disaster waiting to happen. But like I said, 2 years ago, they won the Super Bowl. Sean McVay made Baker Mayfield look good. That's all I'm going to say. He made Baker Mayfield look good. And
I still think McVay's overrated. But
now the big stat I want to throw out to the DeGents here, they struggled huge on the road last year, but a lot of those games were without Matt Stafford. They went 1-7 straight up last year on the road, but the year they won the Super Bowl, they were 7-2. And I just think if you take 3 or 4 games and flip it around, this Rams team is a huge competitor in this NFC fucking conference. Mm-hmm. And if I'm going to have to pick a side, and maybe it's numbers talking too because it's plus 650, but absolutely over 6.5. I'm going to sprinkle a chip or half a chip on fucking.
I can't fault it. I kind of like the idea of the Rams having
7. The Rams to get 7 wins. I'm not saying they're going to win.
Do it.
I think if everybody stays healthy and they just get the right games here and there, they're going to do it. And it's not going to be. This could be over by fucking November.
God, I think the Rams are going to be a team. If they get off to like an 0-2 start and their number drops, I might end up betting them.
Yeah, that's true.
My over, I'll go quick. Seattle over 8.5. Obvious reasons. No need to get into it.
My overplay, that was my overplay of the Rams. My underplay, oddly enough, like I said, I did ultimately think the Niners will take it, but under 11.5 for the Niners. And again, it really just comes down to the questionable quarterback situation.
Yeah, that number is ridiculous. Higher than the Bills at the Chiefs level. Seriously? That's asinine.
So the thinking is that when the Niners are successful, they've gotten at least 12, 13, 14 wins. So you would think that at 11.5, it shouldn't be an issue. But like I said, there's too many. Until the quarterback situation is resolved and until they get consistent with whatever they do, under 11.5, that's my underplay for the NFC. Under 11.5 for the Niners. Because I really do think there's a real possibility they don't even win the division. There's a real possibility they barely make the playoffs as a wild card. If Trey Lance is their guy and they're going to go with him, this is the time you take 11.5 right now. Because I guarantee you, if they lose week 1 or if it's barely a fucking win, it's dropping to 9.5.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly right on with you. The number's asinine. It's Yeah. It almost was my under best bet, but I have a number even more asinine coming. So
Well, all right. Do you want to shit on Midget Boy for a minute? Because we never really talked about Arizona, but
So first off, if you remember last year, we had a futures bet for a case of beer.
yeah,
Over, what was it, 9.5
it was
wins?
9.5.
Over 9.5 wins for the Cardinals you picked. That was embarrassing. Now,
It's 4.5.
4.5.
2,400. They're the longest odds to win the division out of any conference in any division.
Talk about a terrible contract.
God, they lost their head coach. They lost their star receiver.
New GM, I think, right?
Oh, man. Don't worry, though. Marquise Hollywood Brown. He's the real deal.
Kyler Murray running around. Honestly, Kyler Murray, don't be surprised 4 weeks in he goes down with an injury. Like this guy is...
Well, no, he might miss the first 4 weeks because of injury.
How much longer are we looking at? 30. Okay. No problem.
You know,
Yeah.
God, I can't believe that the downfall of the Cardinals. I mean, they were literally a perennial conference favorite 2 years ago. Which was crazy because I bet them against the Rams. Like, I actually like the Cardinals, and then I bet them against the Rams. And just ever since then, they've been dog shit. It's been horrible.
No, they're bad. Kyler Murray's bad. They're a dumpster fire organization.
How bad do you have to put your head coach in where the minute you can, you leave, you just run to Thailand and you don't come back?
Yeah.
God, that is just...
Yeah, that's a rebuild waiting to happen there.
I think they're half a season away from a rebuild.
Well, yeah, think about it. They're going to be the number one pick in the draft, and Kyler Murray is going to be out of there.
Yeah, it's...
So.
God. All right, last division, NFC South. Not the most climactic one, but one I'm interested to get your takes on, Money Mansmann. New Orleans is the favorite right now in the NFC South. They're plus 135. Atlanta is plus 230. New Orleans 9.5 wins. Atlanta 8.5. Carolina 7.5 wins, plus 370. Tampa is plus 550, 6.5 wins. Tampa got Baker Mayfield and Chase Edmonds. Carolina with the biggest pickups of the season for any team, in my opinion. They got defensive coordinator Ejiro Evero from Denver. They drafted rookie quarterback Bryce Young. They got wide receiver Adam Thielen and DJ Chark off free agency. They also picked up Hayden Hurst and Miles Sanders from Philly. Atlanta picked up a new backup, Taylor Heineke. They also drafted Bijan Robinson. That was their big pickup. The big one for New Orleans, though, Derek Carr. I don't know why I have David on here because he's dead to the NFL world, but that's okay.
He got sacked while you were talking.
So did Derek, but he has Jesus. It's fine. So, all right. Your dad's boy, Derek Carr, going to New Orleans. So I brought this up in the AFC episode, and I held it till now. AFC guy going to the NFC. How's this going to go? I have a feeling I know how it's going to go.
See, I disagree with you. I know. I actually think it's New Orleans is going to be better. Yeah. I mean, Derek Carr is just a better quarterback than... I mean, come on. They had Andy Dalton and Jameis Winston last year. Come on. Derek Carr is a better quarterback than those guys.
Is he?
Yeah.
How many playoff wins do they all have?
Derek Carr had no defense, though.
How many? Okay, so did Jameis Winston have a defense?
The Saints'
Did Andy
defense
Dalton
has
have a
been
defense?
better the past couple years. As bad as the Saints' defense was last year, they were better than the Raiders. Come on, the Raiders lost the game. The Raiders, how many games did the defense...
So tell me why Derek Carr has been tied for second most interceptions in the past 2 years. Where does the defense for that?
Now, I will admit he does have some games where he fails.
Some?
Yes, some. Not all of them.
A lot.
He's had good games.
Okay.
The Raiders were a playoff team 2 years ago. With Rich Bisaccia.
Okay. Stop right there. Were they a playoff team or did the Chargers just suck?
Well, I mean...
I mean, come on. Like,
somebody had to win. I don't know. I really like the Carr pickup for them. I mean, again, I like the Carr pickup compared to the division. This division is dreadful. The Saints are going to win this division. They're the best team.
I disagree.
Oh, who do you like in the division?
Oh, boy. Okay, so
At least be bold. I hope it's someone bold.
Carolina.
Okay, see, I can't. Why? Like, I can't.
So, no, Atlanta. I believe Atlanta would be the smarter play, but I do not like their quarterback situation whatsoever in Atlanta. And let's be real, I don't care who they pick up on offense. I don't care that they got Bijan Robinson. We've seen this in Cleveland. We've seen this with Christian McCaffrey in Carolina. I've seen this in other teams. The running back cannot be the offense. You need a quarterback who can throw. I like the Bryce Young pickup with Carolina more than I like the CJ Stroud situation with Houston. I like Ejiro Evero. I mean, we're going to see this year whether he's the real deal, but I saw what he did in Denver, and if he can even bring half of that to Carolina's going to be fucking
Are you concerned
dangerous.
about his size? I've heard a lot that, like, he's not NFL sized.
Um,
Like, not even, like, midget boy. Like, literally midget boy without any bulk.
No, because I've seen what he could do in college, and if he's made it this
He
long,
can also hit the weight room.
yeah, he could hit the weight room. He could bulk up. I'm not concerned. Like, I'm concerned about his age. I don't think he's gonna. I don't know if he has the best rookie season ever. But if I'm looking at these rookie quarterbacks and I'm saying who's gonna be the standout, who's gonna be the guy to fucking be rookie of the year, if you're looking at a quarterback, it's Bryce Young. And I don't even think it's a race. I think it's by a mile. I think Bryce Young's gonna be the better guy.
Carolina could be sneaky. I don't
Well,
know.
they picked up a whole receiver room. They lost DJ Chark, but they replaced that receiver room with Adam Thielen. Or no, they picked up
DJ
Chark.
Moore.
DJ Moore, I apologize. They lost DJ Moore, who was a great receiver, but they replaced him with two guys who I think could be just as dangerous. Adam Thielen is a stud. I think people forget that because Justin Jefferson came on the scene, but Adam Thielen is still a decent guy. On top of that, they picked up Hayden Hurst at tight end, a position they desperately needed
he's
since
not
they lost
horrible.
Greg Olsen. Miles Sanders at running back, I think replaces Chuba Hubbard. I think it replaces those losses. Miles, I could go on and on, but I think if you're going to look at a dark horse and you're actually going to put chalk on something, you do it on Carolina at plus 370. Because let's be real, this division last year came down to a last game.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, Baker Mayfield, I know he had a good end with the Rams, but is Baker Mayfield a good quarterback? I don't think so, but
No, Carr's the best quarterback in the division. So
he's the best quarterback for a shit situation.
Well, yeah, but we're talking about this year. I mean, I think in the future, I don't know. I mean, Bryce Young, I like it. It's a bold play. I just don't know. I'm not. I wasn't really sold on him. I tend to like Stroud the best, to tell you the truth. I like Stroud the best out of all the rookies. Obviously, Houston's a tougher sort of situation.
I'm just saying the one year that they had Devontae Adams, Derek Carr had his lowest fucking performance on completion percentage, lowest yards completed. Although he did get a good bit of touchdowns, but most interceptions year back to back. My problem. I'm not saying Andy Dalton was great, but that's the par I put Derek Carr on. It's Andy Dalton, but without the red hair.
Yeah, I disagree.
It's asinine to me that Derek Carr is just a perennial favorite all of a sudden. But you look at the division, you say, well, what the fuck is
there's
this?
No one else.
But Carolina has so much going for them right now. And and don't get me wrong, I know they had a bad season in general, but I think they did everything correct to get them back on pace.
I guess if you think Bryce Young's going to be better than Sam Darnold, I mean, I don't know if he's going to be better than Sam Darnold year one.
Yeah.
But, maybe.
I mean, I'm not betting on Atlanta. I'm not betting on Desmond Ritter.
Or Taylor Heineke.
Or Taylor Heineke. I'm not betting on Baker Mayfield. I think that's a loss, too. Although I will say, if you actually think Baker Mayfield's performance with the Rams was an indicator of how much he could do in the NFC, the Bucks could be a dark horse if you want to make that argument.
No, I don't.
I won't, but you could.
No.
I mean, if Antonio Brown wants to go do cartwheels again, I mean, by all means,
So the overplay easy. I would assume the overplays are easy. Saints for me. Panthers for you, I would imagine.
Correct.
Underplays, I'm interested. Who you got under?
Admittedly, the under is New Orleans, but my number is at 9. Now, if this number changes to 8.5, I'll hit the over. But I literally went through the Saints schedule. I counted 9. I did not count 10. I did not count 11. And I just think 9.5 is a bit too high. Albeit that I understand they're the division favorites. But I think you look at their schedule, you look at Atlanta's, you look at Carolina's even. Those schedules are awfully fucking easy. And they could fucking... The NFC South could be the sneaky division where it gets competitive for the opposite reason like it did last year.
Okay.
It's bold, I understand, but like I don't think it's going to be a trashy division. Like you think, like last episode, you said the AFC South would be the division people run through. I think it's the opposite for the NFC. I actually think that the NFC South could be a division that becomes really tight-knit really fucking fast, and it actually becomes
I think
more
it could be
entertaining.
tight bad. I don't think it's going to be good.
I actually think it'll be tight good, but not like 10, 11, 12 wins good. It'll be like, oh shit, each of these teams have something. This could be exciting. I think about it. Carolina with the rookie quarterback, Atlanta with Desmond Ridder, New Orleans with Derek Carr. Like it could be a three-horse race between the three.
Well, I think only the Saints are going to finish above 500, which gets me to my best underplay. Atlanta under 8.5.
Ooh, that is. So I'll say this: the sharps I've listened to, they're very heavy. From what I understand, they're heavy on Atlanta. So I want to hear where your take is.
Get it? They're not good. They weren't good last year. Heineke wasn't good last year. Desmond Ridder wasn't good last year. Wow, they have another running back. They had a running back. They're not good. I don't think their coach is good. They weren't good last year. The defense wasn't good. They're just not good. And now they're going to be over 500? No. I'd give Carolina a better chance than them.
I can't fault you on that pick, but my concern is that if they don't... Kind of like what they did with San Francisco, but not in as good of a way. Like, if you put the offense through the running back, but you have a decent system, could they get to over 500?
Yeah, but they did that last year and they weren't good. Why are they going to be any better this year? They're the same team. Has their quarterback position improved? No.
No.
Is Taylor Heineke better than Marcus Mariota? Comparable.
Okay.
Is Desmond Ridder better than Marcus Mariota? Comparable.
I would disagree, but that's based on the limited games I've seen.
So why is it going to be any different this year? Why is what were the
So your pick is that you don't get the hype around Atlanta?
No, they weren't good last year. I don't get why. What was their record last year?
And to be Atlanta's record last year was, I will tell you, 7-10.
So they're gonna win 2 more games? Why? Why?
Well, tell you what, you want to?
Why?
I'll pull up their schedule real quick, and we can.
I'm doing it too now.
Yeah.
Okay,
We're almost done, DeGents, I promise.
Yeah, we'll just run through this and then we'll wrap it up. They could lose. Okay. Home against the Panthers. That's a toss-up game. Home against the Packers.
Ooh, they could lose that.
Okay, we'll go 1-1. Road against the Lions, 1-2. In Jacksonville, 1-3. We'll give them home against the Texans, 2-3. Home against the Commanders. I think they could lose that game. We'll go 3-3. On the road in Tampa, they could lose. I'll be nice, 4-3. In Tennessee, loss. Home against the Vikings, loss.
So 4-6.
Cardinals, 5-6. Saints, loss.
4-7.
Jets in New York, 4-8.
4-9 with the Bucks.
4-9 with the Bucks. Oh, we'll split Panthers Bucks. So 5-10.
Then you have the Colts, Bears, Saints. I think they win too.
6-10.
7-10. I mean,
11. Thank you. Same as last year. Can they do better?
7-10.
I don't think so.
7-10. All right, that's a good point. And like I said, I can't fault you with the underplay at 8.5. I think my problem is you have 2 games. It could go either way. And does that kill you? And it, like, as a gambler, like, if there's 2 games that could kill you and flip your bet, it's a no play. But at least for me, like, I really believe Carolina is going to massively improve. I think for them to be under 500 at still 8 wins, considering they went 7-10 last year with the shit show that was, I think 8 wins is appropriate. I don't think 9 wins is... 9 and 10 wins seems crazy, but I think 8 wins is reasonable. And it's worth a bet. I mean, that's my play on Carolina. And again, Carolina, it's like the Rams play. I'll throw a half a unit. I'm not saying it. I'm,
gonna fully. Yeah.
But I think if I'm gonna play it, I play it now.
Yeah.
While it's crazy high, because I think they've massively improved compared to the other teams.
It's gonna be to the point where if you're wrong and the number gets like crazy, you're not gonna play it.
Well, I think if you look at the teams who've improved and actually made an effort, Carolina's clearly the clear favorite. Like, they're the clear favorite, if you ask me. But which is funny because I faded the fuck out of them last year. But no, this year they concern me. All right, DeGents. 4 division winners for Big Bucks Beta. It's Minnesota Vikings, Dallas Cowboys, Philadelphia Eagles. San Francisco 49ers, but I am not playing that. I'm actually going to play half unit on the Rams and the Carolina Panthers. So let me switch that up real quick.
And I have the Vikings, I have the Eagles, have the Saints, and the Seahawks.
All right. Over-under plays. I got over 8.5 for Minnesota, under 7.5 for Green Bay, under 7.5 for the Giants, over 9.5 for the Cowboys, under 11.5 for the Niners, over 6.5 for the Rams, over 7.5 for the Panthers, under 9.5 for the New Orleans Saints. Mansmann, best over, best under.
Yeah, right. So best over, I'm going Cowboys 9.5. Like I said, they're a good team. I expect them to be good. The under, Falcons under 8.5.
Gotcha. All right, for Big Bucks Beta over here, best under play, take the under 7.5 for the Green Bay Packers, as well as the New York Giants. Both are plus 100. Pick whatever one you want. Best overplay for me, I'm going to go over Carolina. And right now, that is listed on FanDuel at minus 122. All right, DeGents, thank you for checking us out for the NFL Futures. We fucking missed you guys. We need to come back in studio more often. Check us out on our new YouTube page, Distinguished DeGents. There's like 5 numbers. I fucking forget.
Harbor Discussions will now be on Spotify as well.
Oh shit.
Hey,
All right, producer John, we fucking took all your time, but give us some shout-outs, give us some future news, you have 5 minutes, take it away.
Yeah, if y'all are watching this and you're subscribed to the, is it the Distinguished DeGents channel?
Correct, sir. We will give you that address at the end of this episode.
Yeah, be sure to check out the Harbor Discussions YouTube channel. If you don't know, it was the birthplace of the Distinguished DeGents. I interview local bands, I interview actors, business owners, anybody interesting and talented from the Maryland and surrounding areas. My most recent interview that I dropped is the Fear of God interview. If you're into hardcore music or punk music, this is a band from the 80s, so they've been around for a while. I got several others coming out, some special ones to maybe be announced soon. That is about it on my end.
Check us out at Distinguished DeGents 9132 on YouTube. Check us out on Twitter. Mansmann, you have the page.
At DeGents Podcast.
At DeGents Podcast on Twitter. Guys, thank you once again. Happy Memorial Day. As I always say, go win your motherfucking money.